Just injury updates, if you wouldn't mind, on ahead of Monday.
To be honest, everything's all right as it was. Couple of knocks and niggles, a little bit coming out of the game that you'd expect, but Patrick's back working. Well, no, he's not back. He's working his way to being back. So I don't want to get ahead of that one, but he's certainly in making good progress and back closer to training with us, which is positive. So that's good news.
Lenny, is he be back Monday?
We're still working on that one. So there's a possibility, but at this stage it's not 100% sure.
The cushion you've built to 6 now has naturally led people to look ahead to the summer, whether that be signings or your own future. You've obviously done a fantastic job since arriving in January. I mean, how much would you love to take the role beyond the summer?
I've said it many times. I enjoy being here. You know, I enjoy the role I'm in. We've had some good results and we're in decent shape. I think there's a lot to go. We still want to keep improving. You know, there's layers that we want to get to. Really, I'll see. You know, I'll see. I keep saying the same things in front of you every week. You know, there's only so much I can say in terms of that. But I've said it many times again. I enjoy being here. I love being here. It's a real privilege to be in the position I am, but thriving with the responsibility that we got.
When are you expecting clarity?
I'm not sure, to be honest. And it's genuinely it's not something in terms of deadlines that I'm really chasing. I think it'll become clear when it's going to become clear, and I'm here at the moment to help the team and help the club get results. And at the moment we're doing all right. We're doing all right. We can keep pushing and getting better. So really, that's genuinely all I'm focused on right now.
Afternoon, Michael. You talk about enjoying the role so far, and I know there's a lot of football to go as well, but so far, what have you enjoyed most about your return so far? Being a player for so long, has any part of the job surprised you?
I don't necessarily think surprised. Kind of been here for quite some time and seen quite a lot. Some ups and some downs, so you kind of experience helps you a lot in situations, you know. So I wouldn't say being surprised by it. Working with the players is what I enjoy, you know, and that's a big kind of passion of helping them develop and ultimately getting results and sharing with the supporters. You know, when you get important wins and big wins and you have moments to enjoy them moments, it's what we're all here for, right? In the end, so you've got to make the most of them as well.
Just on terms of the job long term, when it is brought up outside the walls of Carrington, sceptics kind of bring up Ollie's time at the club in terms of comparisons to your term at the moment. Just wonder your thoughts on that comparison, but also do you find maybe that discussion sometimes disrespectful to maybe your own development as a coach over the last few years, but also to a good friend in Ollie as well?
I don't think it's disrespectful. I think I've got the utmost respect for him. He's a close friend of mine, so I worked closely with him when he was here. So I was quite attached to that, and I thought we did a lot of good things really, and became close. And in the end, obviously, it changed and it went a different direction. That's football. I think comparisons you could compare to all sorts of different situations and managers and coaches and teams over the years. It just depends on what you want to choose to compare, but it's irrelevant, really. It really is, and that's not a negative or a positive. It doesn't really have any link at all. I think we're a different team now, irrespective of me, who's in charge. It's a different team. It's a different time. So I don't really think comparisons literally make any difference at all.
Can I ask you about Bruno? He's many people's favourite to be player of the season, and in terms of his attacking stats, he's a mile ahead of pretty much everybody else in terms of goals created, certainly. So I'm just wondering, in terms of, if you can explain to us, since you've been in here when it all seemed to change, exactly what you've facilitated or the club's facilitated to push him to those levels again.
Well, certainly personally, I think giving Bruno the platform to go and perform, like all the players, you know, I think we try to create the structure and a team set up really to try and bring out the best of everyone within that. There's obviously limitations in terms of everyone's got to sacrifice a little bit for the good of the team. But for me, I like seeing Bruno in attacking positions with a little bit of freedom. He obviously again plays for the team, and he's a big responsibility within that. And I thought he did that ever so well, especially on Saturday without the ball and the defensive work that he did. So he's got big responsibility within that. But trusting him, you know, he's a very good player. He sees things. He's creative. He's got a really good brain. He's a big part of the group as well, and a big influence. So a lot of it's in trust and trying to put him in a position where we think he can make the biggest difference, really.
I was going to ask you about the various qualities that he's got. Is there any particular that have impressed you since you've come in, now that you've seen it at closer quarters, and why?
I've known Bruno a long time and worked with him when he came to the club. So I wouldn't, again, it hasn't surprised me. I knew exactly what he could bring. I think over time you kind of evolve, and experience helps, and you can certainly see that he's grown as well, and in a real positive way. So he's just a big influence. He's had a big impact, and he's playing ever so well at the moment. So we're delighted with that.
Thank you.
Michael, obviously since Saturday we've seen he's lost his job. I just wonder, as a young English coach, how you view management at the moment. I was working it out. The time that you were at Middlesbrough, there's 20 managers currently in work who have been in a job longer than you were at Middlesbrough for. And there's been 20 managerial appointments since you've been appointed here. I just wonder how you go about
it. You do a bit of maths there, aren't you? Go on.
Just counting. I can't count
Go on,
to 20.
how many's left?
How do you do that job? Because you don't get time to build anything in the way that you used to do.
No, there's obviously two sides. So I think there's definitely instant results, and the next game being as important as ever. But there's definitely the responsibility, and certainly on our thinking as a coaching staff and as a club of what the future looks like, and trying to make that better in the bigger picture. You can only be positive and look to what's achievable. That's how I am. I think there's all sorts of negatives or setbacks or what ifs in the world anyway. I think I like to live my life in a positive way and what can be achieved every day, to be honest with you. So ultimately at the end it's some sort of success for us until now at the end of the season, and then see what happens after that. But I don't think about what could go wrong. We get balanced, obviously, because we've got to make decisions on that, but I don't live my life like that. It's more of a case of what can be achieved. I think that's a much nicer way and positive way to look at it.
Does it not affect your thinking, though, when you know that in 2 months' time, if results don't go well, not you specifically, but a manager can be out of a job just over a very short space of time?
Not massively. It doesn't day to day my thinking, or how we work with the players, or how we set teams up, how I approach it, my mentality to working in the role I'm in. It genuinely doesn't. It doesn't. I think it's the world we live in some ways, but I really don't think like that. I just keep thinking about what we can achieve, what success looks like for me personally in some ways, but more about the group, the staff, the players in the club. I think that's the most important thing, and it's such a big difference, half full, half empty. You know, what do you focus on? Some people naturally focus on different things. For me, it's all about what we can achieve and how we're going to get there.
Back to Manchester United now. We heard from Michael Carrick, didn't we, in the last hour as they prepare to face Brentford on the Monday Night Football. Let's cross to Daniel Kahn now, who was sat in his press conference asking those all-important questions. Good to see you, Dan. Thanks for joining us. We saw a makeshift centre-back partnership, didn't we, from United when they faced Chelsea. Will Carrick be boosted by any returns, though, in defence?
Yeah, good evening, Vicky. Good evening, Clinton. Absolutely. I think got to watch training a little bit this morning here at Carrington. Also heard from Michael Carrick himself this evening ahead of Monday Night Football against Brentford. The good news is he'll get Harry Maguire back. He's available after suspension. And I think we saw maybe not as much in that game at Stamford Bridge last weekend, but the Monday before that, their defeat to Leeds at Old Trafford, really the big miss Harry Maguire was in both boxes. Really, I think the feeling was with him on the pitch, maybe they would have had a much better performance in that game in particular. But look, he's back available. Not as good news with Lenny Euro, though. He wasn't in training this morning. Michael Carrick telling us that he's hopeful, though, he could be involved on Monday night. Lisandro Martinez, though, he is still out. He's going to miss another 2 games with his suspension after his red card against Bournemouth. So I think very unlikely we'll see Nuasar Mazraoui partner Aidan Heaven in that defence that was victorious at Stamford Bridge last weekend. But look, I think the big question is, will it be Aidan Heaven next to Harry Maguire, or will Lenny Euro be fit enough to come back into the team? Based on Saturday's performance, you say Aidan Heaven has to stay in that team based off what was so impressive, his first start since the beginning of January.
Yeah, and Dan, there's been loads of speculation over Carrick's future at the club, but is this similar to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's time at Old Trafford, do you think?
Look, I think it's been a narrative, Vicky. I think that's fair to say since Michael Carrick was appointed. The whole discussion around him staying beyond the end of this season, there has been a strand to this tale about maybe making comparisons to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in that caretaker period until the end of the season that became permanent after that international break. Now, look, I think it's become a bit more pertinent because after he was given a full-time contract, a multi-year contract after that initial international break, results really tailed off. And I think people were saying, really, could that happen under Michael Carrick after a similar type break? Could that new manager, new head coach bounce wear off a little bit? And it's something we haven't really asked Michael Carrick himself. We've seen former players, journalists all talk about it, but I thought I'd ask Michael Carrick himself what he has thought about those comparisons.
I thought we did a lot of good things, really, and became close, and in the end obviously it changed and it went a different direction. That's football. I think comparisons, you could compare to all sorts of different situations and managers and coaches and teams over the years. It just depends on what you want to choose to compare, but it's irrelevant, really. It really is. And that's not a negative or a positive. It doesn't really have any link at all. I think we're a different team now, irrespective of me, who's in charge. It's a different team. It's a different time. So I don't really think comparisons literally make any difference at all.
Well, so to answer your question, Vicky, you heard from Michael Carrick there say it's absolutely irrelevant, any comparisons to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But look, focuses on Monday.
I'm shocked. I didn't expect it to happen this soon. I know that he was under pressure because, look, Chelsea is a big club.
Yeah.
They expect to win. It hasn't happened before, or it hasn't happened that long or long ago that they haven't scored this minimum goals.
Yeah, 5 games, they've not scored a goal.
5 games, yeah. They've got lots of injuries. The game against Man United, they were a little bit unlucky. They played really well. So, yeah, I am a little bit surprised. But then on the other hand, I'm not, because it's football, it's results. The shirt is heavy,
yeah.
You know. The supporters are used to winning a lot of trophies, used to see the team competing week in, week out. And the game of yesterday was poor. And that's why you could see him. Look, they have to do what they have to do. And, yeah.
He was always up against it from minute one. The way it ended with Maresca and then Liam coming into the football club with a connection from Strasbourg. So people said straight away he's going to be a yes man. I knew he wasn't a yes man. I'm with Tom. I played with him at Hull City. And I went into an interview, and a few things that came out, he felt as though he was supported. Anything was possible with this football club. And they can't keep changing. There were 3 things that I left and thought, right, this is longer than the short term. And now what, within 23 games, yes, the last 8 games have been a disaster, albeit that one win against Port Vale, demolished against PSG, and the results in the Premier League, no goals in 5, losing all of those. And like Tom just said, when you put in a performance like they did last night and a team goes above you for the Champions League, and this football club, we've always known, certainly from my time playing, we're winning Champions League Premier Leagues, FA Cups. So when you get into a run of not winning football matches, could always be a possibility. Did I think he would get to the FA Cup semi-final on Sunday? Yes, I did. I thought he would be given a chance because the hierarchy, the people who make these decisions know what Liam Rossini is all about. And I'm a big fan of him, still early days in his coaching career, and this is a huge setback for him. He would never envisage getting sacked before the end of the season. Never in a million years did I think it. But Mercer, who sits on the show, always said if you don't get results at Chelsea, you're always under pressure.
Yeah.
And 5 Premier League defeats on the bounce, and they've acted quick. Who've they got in line? I'm not too sure. It's interesting that going into a semi-final, I think the players must have gone. They have down tools, and they're going, right, the hierarchy now go, we make the decision. If he's still in charge, we've got no chance of beating Leeds on Sunday. And they've acted, and unfortunately for Liam, he'll lick his wounds, and I'm sure there will be teams out there to give him another opportunity.
Arsenal supporters, let us know, but I don't want to answer for you. I'm not an Arsenal fan, but there's going to be nerves. There's going to be nerves that game against Newcastle. You know, like Bournemouth, it's like, come on, create this cup atmosphere, blah, blah, blah. But Bournemouth go and win it. They've just, you know, what an opportunity for Arsenal to then, again, go 6 points clear. But look at the goal difference as well. But these aren't going to be easy games. Fulham haven't really got much to play for now. But Newcastle do have But that Newcastle in 14th, Eddie Howe does not want to see that. No Newcastle fans want to see that. Fulham with an outside chance of Europe, I suppose. And then Everton away. That's a really tough first game back in the league for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. They will have to win that because you do expect Arsenal to win those 2 home games. I say you expect, but not so sure. I think we've got so many more twists and turns. Because you look at Villa, how will they be by then? They might be Europa League winners, you never know. So we'll wait and see. There's some really interesting fixtures coming. But obviously Arsenal home to Burnley. That's a biggie, isn't it? West Ham, Arsenal on the 17th. Could be Arsenal's toughest game, that. Could be Arsenal's toughest game. More twists and turns to come. There is no doubt about it.
This is the moment everything clicks for Manchester United, and even Jamie Carragher is now calling Michael Carrick a genius. From doubt earlier in the season to now securing a top 3 finish, this is not luck. This is a transformation built on smart tactics, strong mentality, and elite leadership on the pitch. And at the center of it all, Bruno Fernandes. His record-breaking season isn't just about numbers, it's about influence. Bruno has completely taken control of games, dictating tempo, creating chances, and delivering in the biggest moments. Breaking assist records shows consistency, vision, and the ability to perform under pressure, and that's exactly what Manchester United have needed. But what makes this even more impressive is how Carrick has built the system around him. At the start of the season, there were questions. Could this team stay consistent? Could they handle big games? Could they actually compete at the top level? Now, those questions are gone. Carrick's approach has been simple but powerful. Keep structure in midfield, control possession with purpose, stay compact defensively, and trust key players like Bruno to make the difference. And the results are clear. Manchester United are no longer just reacting in games, they are controlling them. They're managing pressure better, making smarter decisions, and showing maturity in key moments. This is exactly why Carragher's praise matters. Because when someone like him, known for being critical, calls Carrick a genius, it means something has clearly changed. Let's talk about mentality. This is where the biggest improvement has come. Earlier in the season, United could lose focus, struggle under pressure, drop points in key moments. Now, they stay calm, they stay organized. They finish games properly. That's the difference between a top 6 team and a top 3 team.